Senior Report thanks Edmund Besch of Bristol Burgess Insurance Agency, 65 East Main Street, Westfield, for his generous grant to provide news to seniors. Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean. Funding for Senior Report is provided in part by a grant from Andrew Goodell, Assemblyman for the 150th District of the New York State Assembly. Senior Report with Reed Powers thanks Westfield's Schultz Chevy for a generous grant to inform seniors of important news. Over 50 years of service to Westfield by Chevrolet, Schultz Chevy across from the school. The physicians of Jamestown Primary Care are happy to sponsor the Senior Report. From the Access Channel 5 television studio in Mayville, it's Senior Report with Reed Powers. Senior Report is broadcast live throughout northern Chautauqua County on Saturday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. each week. Call in and share a thought, make a comment, ask a question, or simply wish someone a happy birthday on Chautauqua County's only live call-in senior program. Since 1995, Reed has been bringing viewers hundreds of interesting guests, informing the community on a variety of subjects. Here's the host of the show, Reed Powers.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Senior Report. Our buddy Reed Powers is somewhere out and about, and hopefully he'll be calling in somewhere along the line here in the next 15 minutes. If not, I'll just keep talking like I do anyways. We like to give Reed a little chance to get away. He puts in long hours setting up the show here every week, month after month. What is this, like year 17? I think it's something higher, 18 years, okay. I always got these guys that cue me on this information. Well, anyways, good morning. And pretty nice day out there. It's hard to believe that we went through all 4 seasons in 1 week. We had spring, we had winter at my house, and now it looks like springtime. And then by the afternoon, I think it's going to be just about summertime, close to 60 degrees, and then back into spring tomorrow morning, probably with rain. Lots of things going on here throughout the county. First of all, I want to thank everybody that took the time to go onto YouTube and viewed the debates that we produced here at the Access 5. It was an experiment this year that we tried, and it was a pleasure to work with the candidates, and I see that we had over 100 viewers on one of the films there, and I don't even know what to call it, film I guess would be. And so we know that it's important to you when we see that people are participating in it, and hopefully we'll have some programming in the future. If you have suggestions for something that we might want to think about, give us a call or contact Reed Powers or myself. Okay, well, lots of things going on in the county, and I thought I'd just mention some of the things. And Reed has his hotline that I don't have, so he didn't send me anything particular. But it looks like about once a week there's what they call the Focus on Seniors in the Post-Journal. And you know, I've taken some time to look at this, and there's good information, especially on insurance and organizations and activities throughout the county. And I highly suggest you take a look at it. For many folks that I've run into over the years, whether you're widowed or widower, you're recently divorced and you're over the age of 55 or something along these lines, there's organizations out there, folks, of clubs that meet on a regular basis. You don't have to be sitting at home watching reruns of MASH or doing crossword puzzles. You can get out and, you know, have a really fun time. And as Reed will tell you, there's activities and programs and so forth. And I just want to mention some of those that are available at this point in time. The Harmony Senior Citizens, they meet on noon from November through April. and it's held at the Panama United Methodist Church. So I don't have all the details for that, but you could check that out. The Mayville Senior Citizens, I know, are active group. I've visited with them. They meet the first and third Thursday, twice a month, at the Mayville VFW, and it's for anyone 55 years on up. Are welcome, and it's a large group. I think there was probably about maybe 50, 60 people there when I was there. My own hometown, the Ripley Senior Citizens Club, they meet for a tureen lunch at noon on the third Friday of each month at the Ripley Baptist Church on Eastside Hill. And as I've been told, they have a very active group there. They go on trips, and they have a program every month, maybe on nutrition or fun things or hobbies or whatever. Young at Heart at the Finley Lake group, they plan monthly events such as tours to area places of interest. They go to concerts in Erie and so forth. And again, all this information is in the paper, but I bring it to your attention because a lot of people don't get the paper, or they just skim over this part. The Ellery Senior Citizens, I've had an opportunity to meet with them, and I gave a talk a couple years ago, and they're just a great bunch of folks, and they meet each month the second Friday at 12:30 at St. Timothy Lutheran Church out on 430 in Bemis Point. Also, I know that Linda Spalding's probably tuned in by now, and I want to encourage her to call in this morning sometime, and she always gives us the up-to-the-minute opportunities for seniors that want to volunteer, or there's some part-time work out there. So Linda, if you want to give us a call, we'll be looking forward to that. But there's things that are going on for all ages, and some of it's work, some of it's volunteer. I do a lot of volunteer work and so forth. And as we move into our retirement years, doesn't mean roll over and croak. It means, hey, I got the time. Hopefully I have the resources, and I can give back to my community, or at least have some fun in our retirement years. Okay, so that's pretty much what I have under senior news at this point. We encourage you, and I know they're going to pop this up here in a second. This is like the telethon where they bring up a number. There it is. Thanks, guys. 753-5225, or as we say, Jack, 753-JACK. Call us if you have a birthday you want to mention, anniversary, an announcement for an activity that's coming up. And with the holidays, I know there's lots of different things, fundraisers. It's free. This show is rebroadcasted throughout the week, so it's going to be covered all over the county. So give us a call. The guys will take the information. You can either talk to me live, or they'll take it down and they'll bring it in here and slip it in, and I'll make that an announcement. If you're just tuning in, I'm Doc Hamels. I'm the co-host here on most days, and I sit over on this other side and try to say something intelligent once a week and keep Reed calm. And I'm relatively successful on saying something intelligent. As far as keeping Reed calm, that's another matter. Okay, have we got any updates on Reed if he's called in yet, Jeff? None yet. Okay, well, we'll stay posted. Okay, in other areas that I want to talk about, we have a poster that we're going to pop up here, The Magic of TV. We have been good friends with the Children's Safety Village, and coming up not this weekend, but the 23rd and 24th, today is the 16th, so it'll be next weekend. I encourage you to go to the Winter Wonderland Craft Show at the Children's Safety Village out on 394. It's right at the same location as the BOCES Center, the Hughes Center, from 10 to 5. And as you can see, there's going to be crafts and things for kids to do. It's a great venue for this time of year. Yours truly will be playing with Gary Kinberg. We're going to be doing Christmas music and holiday songs live under the Rotary Pavilion. And it's just a $3 entry fee. Kids under 12 are free, and so forth. If you went to the Town of Terror, thanks guys. If you've been to the Town of Terror, you know that's been a growing venue for the holiday of Halloween, and becoming very successful. The Winter Crafts Fair is another one. You can pick up some nice presents, and heck, they're local people, many of them, and we can certainly support the local artisans. If you don't know, the Safety Village has also got their cash calendar that's coming out for this year, 2014, and they're $20, and you have a chance to win $20 throughout the year. And if you know anybody involved with the Safety Village, get your calendar. All right, so I took care of that. Now, I gotta do a public statement here. Most recently, I've been in the newspaper a little bit. It seems like I'm in there more than Obama. Anyways, I had a great opportunity to make a presentation just recently at LSS Lutheran Social Services over there in Jamestown, right near the JCC. And it just had a wonderful bunch of folks, about 70 people came out to hear me talk about genealogy. I'm not a professional genealogist. I did my family history. It became a sort of like 24-hour a day. It took over my body, okay? It totally infatuated me, and I was researching this thing for a couple of years to the point where I finally was able to connect all the dots. And I'm not going to digress on this, but I just want to say that we're going to have a follow-up program. I don't know when, where, well, I know the where. I don't know the when or the how yet, but it's going to be at JCC through the continuing ed program, I believe. And so keep your eye open. 26 people have already signed up from the 70s, so obviously it's a hot topic, and must be I didn't bore them too badly. And so we're going to have some fun with that probably after the holidays. But if you're interested in genealogy, keep your eyes open for the announcements and join us. And if we don't get into that group, I'm sure we're going to have some follow-up things. Genealogist is not, genealogist with a small g is my new title, I guess. So lots of fun, and thanks Betty Eckwell for having me out there. It was a great time. All right. Also, for those of you that read the Silver magazine, well, I want to thank all of you that come up to me wherever I am and share your pleasure or your thanks of the article. It's amazing to me. We come here and we do the show, and people come up to us all the time and go, "You're those guys that are on TV," and I get a real kick out of that. And then also people come up to me. I was at McDonald's not too long ago, and someone says, "We read real quietly. We read your article from Out of the West all the time, and we really enjoy that and look forward to seeing it every month." And it makes me feel good, because there's a bunch of us that write for the magazine, and it's all volunteer. And to know that what I'm writing is entertaining, or you find pleasurable to take the time and read. And so what I'm letting you know right now, a little sneak preview, this month coming up, it was written not necessarily by me, but by my co-author. And well, I'll tell you one little clue who wrote it. He's only 2 foot tall, all right? And some of you might know, because he wrote for me a couple years ago. But anyway, so it's coming out, I think, next Tuesday, so I hope you have a look at that, and we have a little fun with that. That's the Silver magazine, my article from Out of the West. All right, well, I noticed this morning that things were a little different when I woke up. The dog was on top of me, and all of a sudden we heard the resounding boom of rifles going off and shotguns in the woods, and which is now the signal for me to put bells on the dog and me to wear bright reds and yellows and pinks when I'm walking along the tree line. Folks, it's that time of year. Hunting season started at sunrise this morning, whatever time that was. I think it was around 6 o'clock, 6:30. Hey, there's Max. Yeah, this is the guy who greets me every morning. Barb gets up and gets the coffee going, and the next thing I know, he's on top of me. Well, anyways, I got to keep Max safe, so I got to keep him on a short run right now, because he loves to run in the woods. But anyways, be aware the hunters are around. Be aware that they're parked along the sides of the roads, and be aware that, just don't go walking out in your woods without whistling or making a lot of noise so they don't know you're there, because they're in camouflage. You can't see them, but they sure can see part of you sometimes, and it may look just like a deer. I know, it was 2 or 3 years ago, I walked out after hunting season out to get the mail, and someone had taken out my 2-point mailbox. I don't know what they were thinking, but I saw the hole come from one side and it blew out the side of the other, so I don't know if it was a stray bullet, but somebody had a trophy mailbox when they were done. It's a true story. I'll make this stuff up. Anyways, but good luck to those that are out there. Be safe, and everyone just be aware that the hunters are out there. All right, well, we're going to proceed thinking that probably Reed is going through the usual process of getting on board. A lot of times he calls me just as they're ready to set sail, but if he calls in, we'll get him on. If not, I'm sure we're going to have him next week. So we'll hang on to that. Just a final note before we go to our public service announcement here. If you're in the area of Frewsburg this evening, Bill and I will be entertaining folks at the Corner Coffee House and Bistro. We're going to be doing all Irish music tonight, and please come out and join us. It's a lot of fun. So with that, we're going to take a short break here. We're going to bring on our guest, who's going to be entertaining. He's lots of fun. I've known him for a number of years, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. So this is for you, and we'll be right back.
We have a job to do out here today.
To be a winning team, you have to work like a winning team.
My team depends on me.
And my team is 50,000 strong.
Looks like a lot of work's going into this.
This is what it feels like to be part of a team.
A winning team.
The Action Team.
Action Team! Action! Get in on the action at actionteam.org. Are you in?
And we're back. And if you're just joining us, I'm Doc Hamels. You're watching the Senior Report. It's Saturday, November 16th. I get on the air and I draw these blanks. I never remember. I remember I did that during the debates. But we tell you this because if you are watching this, you might be watching us later in the week and you think, oh, I'll call in. It's too late. If you're not calling in Saturday morning at around 9:15 or so, you're too late. But if you do watch this, you can always check back with us or call us next week if you have a follow-up question, and we'll get it to our guests and so forth. Folks, no more talking on my part. I want to introduce you a colleague of mine, Chuck Brininger. He is the president of the Jamestown Coin Club, and Chuck was good enough to take some time from his Saturday morning, and I guess golf is over for now.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
Probably play this afternoon.
I'm even more impressed that you took time from your important golf game to be here. But Chuck, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And
good to be here.
I know I've talked to a few people that you were coming, and they're very excited because we're going to be talking about coins and that whole world of collecting and so forth. But before we go, I know that you taught at JCC, and I know you're a professor and all that good stuff. So tell the folks a little bit about yourself before we get going here.
Well, I came to Jamestown, my wife and I, in 1969. Mm-hmm. We went to graduate school at the University of Michigan, and I had intended to go back and finish my PhD, but I fell in love with teaching.
That'll do it.
And the students at JCC have been exciting and energizing, and I still teach. I'm in my 45th year, which is kind of mind-numbing. But I retired after 35 years, but I've continued to teach for the last 10 years. I teach a couple of freshman chemistry labs. And I love it. I don't know if I'll ever give it up because it's kind of the anchor in my week. I teach on Wednesdays so I can play golf 6 days a week. Well, actually, sometimes 7.
Squeeze it right in there.
Yeah. So that's how we ended up coming to Western New York from both my wife and I are originally from Ohio, and went to Hiram College, and then we went to graduate school at Michigan, and now we're here. We've loved the area. It was fun just driving up here this morning. As you said, it's a beautiful day. It's like a spring morning. But how do we get this related to coins? I started coin collecting as a kid when I was probably 7 years old. I had sisters who worked at the Turnpike in Ohio, and they worked as waitresses, and they would bring home their change, and I would sort through it looking for good dates. And I had the little Whitman folders, the little blue folders, which most collectors our age are familiar with, but not so much anymore because it's hard to get coins out of circulation that would fill those books anymore. But when we were kids, back in the 50s, that was very much a possibility. When I went to college, my collecting kind of was on a hiatus, but then
you had no money.
And you had to study chemistry. Chemistry is not an easy discipline, and I needed to devote a little time to that. So, but once I got back here in Jamestown and settled down into my profession of teaching, I was able to get reconnected with coin collecting, and in 1975, the Jamestown Coin Club began. I was not one of the original 5 members, but I was close to it. our daughter was born in April of '75, and so I spent a little more time there.
Good choice.
Yeah. Of course, there was the racquetball that I had back then. I wasn't so much addicted to golf at that time. I was into racquetball and basketball. However, so the Coin Club started in '75, and we had our original meetings over at the Marine Midland Bank in Faulkner, and then that got to be a little too small, and there were some problems with the space, and so we ended up gravitating out to the Ross Grange, and which is still there in Faulkner, and had quite a few years there. And I got reconnected back when we were at the Ross Grange, and I think this is my 12th year as president of the Coin Club. I think Lenny Johnson, who recently passed, he was president for 10 years. So we haven't had all that many presidents. It's not as bad as, well, the government or other places.
We vote them out if we don't like them.
That's right, and we have a very active coin club here in Jamestown. The Jamestown Coin Club is, and I say this at our meetings often, I think that we are one of the finest coin clubs in the nation, probably in the world if you want to go that far, because there aren't that many outside of the United States. Coin collecting is a very big hobby. I recently gave a talk at Moonbrook on the coin collecting and coins and chemistry was the title. And I said, gee, this is like three loves all in one. I got my coins, I've got chemistry, and I've got Moonbrook. And my wife was there, so I actually had four loves.
Good choice there again.
So coin collecting is a big thing. I found out when I was doing research for that talk that there are approximately 20 million collectors in the United States. And I mean, that's mind-numbing.
That doesn't even include the world.
No.
Because we know there's international collectors.
But now, in terms of the international collectors, generally, they're more interested in their national currency as opposed to the United States, and that's true for us.
Sure.
Although I know some of us have extensive foreign collections, but our own U.S. currency and coins are where we spend most of our time and energy. And we see that at our auctions. We have an auction every month except December. We have a meeting and auction, and it's on the fourth Thursday of the month.
Tuesday.
Did I say Thursday?
You did.
Yes, that's the other club.
That's why I'm here.
Thank you.
But you know what? You got the story from the Grange, but you didn't get us to the latest location.
Oh yeah, and that's good.
It's good to know where the club is.
Yeah, we migrated west, as they used to say, go west, young people, go west. We're now at the Bosey Center, again, the same place where the Winter Wonderland is going to be held, only across the parking lot. Right. We're at the Bosey Center, and they are very gracious there, and the room accommodates about 80. And by golly, we have, when I said we're one of the most active clubs, we have close to a full house every month.
Do you know who got us into there?
I'll bet it was you.
It was me.
I was the
administrator at the time, and I remember we were talking about, because we were at another location, and they were talking about it wasn't conducive completely for young kids and so forth. And I said, well, why don't you use the large group room in A building at the Hughes Center? And there was this big discussion. We can't change after all these years. The club, I think, doubled after we moved there.
Change comes slowly.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that was a great choice, because they are tiered. The A room is tiered, so people can see what's going on.
Right, so the fourth Tuesday of the month.
Fourth Tuesday of every month. And the only exception is December.
And what time? 7, right?
And it's, the doors open at 6.
Okay.
And that's important because we have usually 3 or 4, sometimes 5 dealers there for each meeting who are selling supplies as well as coins. And they will help you if you have a coin that you're not sure about, you are interested in how much it's worth. They'll be happy to look at it and give you an approximate value. But it's an active group. Of those 70 members who are there, I would say probably 20 25 actively bid. Because after our meeting, which usually takes only about 15 minutes at the beginning, then
Depends
we
on
have...
the president how long he talks.
Well, yeah, he tends to not want to talk too long about that stuff. We get into a fairly good auction, and I brought the list for our next month's auction, this month of
Right.
November, and there are 117 items
Wow.
that will be auctioned. I think that might be a record. That's
Could
the
very
most
well
we've
be.
ever done.
Okay, now let's say Randy wants to come over and he's got some coins that he's had, because he told me earlier that he had a couple things he wanted to take a look at. So if folks are watching right now, the fourth Tuesday is coming up, right? And they can come to the youth center 7 o'clock, and if they walk in, how much does it cost to get in?
Well, they don't have to pay anything
It's
to get
free.
in. It's free to come and attend as a guest. There are certain restrictions on guests. The restrictions are you can't put an item into the auction to be
Right.
auctioned off for the next month. And you can't buy an opportunity to win the gold coin. We have a gold coin almost every month at intermission, a 10th-ounce gold piece that people can buy chances on. And that's an exciting thing. And
Yeah, it is.
I say, I'm trying to think what were there, $2 a ticket or 3 tickets for $5. And your odds are pretty good because of there are only 70 or 80 people there. You got a pretty good chance of winning a gold coin.
So a visitor
But a
basically
visitor
observes.
They could observe and they could join that very night.
And was like a $500?
It's $9 to join.
$9?
$9.
That's it?
That's all it costs. That's
What organizations do you all belong to that cost $9? That's what, 2 Big Macs?
Well, and ironically, we have a Christmas party in December, and if the member attends the Christmas party, the club subsidizes $10 of their fee.
So
you are $1 ahead
if you go to the party.
if you go to the Christmas party.
What a deal.
And we have raffle prizes and door prizes that amount to almost $500 given. Oh, no, it's $300. I misspoke. $300 per meeting. So you can buy raffle tickets, and if your number is drawn, you win some very nice prizes. And door prizes as well, some nice, and they're all coins and currency. There's a list that I brought along of appraisers in the club who are willing to work with anyone in the community who would call in and say, we would like to have our coin collection appraised, or my father passed away and we have all these coins, we don't know what to do. So we have a list of about 20 people who are willing to do that. Most of them charge a small fee, a per hour fee, but what they do is they waive that fee if they end up purchasing the collection.
Believe it or not, we have our first phone call. You
Oh,
ready?
really?
Okay, good morning, caller.
Good morning. Hey, I was going through some coins, and I found kind of an unusual one, but it's probably pretty popular. A steel penny from the end of World War II.
Okay, so it's 1943.
It's too bad it
Okay.
wasn't a copper penny from 43. That's worth a
Yeah.
couple $100,000.
Oh, wow. Okay. What should I guess basically my question is, what should I look for in quality and all that kind of stuff?
Good question.
What it should look like, and all that kind of stuff.
The steel penny-
What should I basically look for when I pick up a coin and look at it and decide it's whether or not it would be worth keeping? Maybe
Great
even start a
questions.
collection with.
The steel pennies the government decided that we needed the copper for the casings for the artillery shells. And so we went away from the bronze penny that we had, went to steel penny just 1 year in 43. And it's coated with zinc. And unfortunately, zinc is a very active metal, and it loves to oxidize. And so the steel pennies took on, it looks like they rusted, but it's simply an oxidation that's taking place. The iron in the steel underneath the zinc coating is coming through and forming iron oxides and zinc oxides, which are white and reddish orange in color. The steel penny in a higher condition, and in coins we have a whole hierarchy of grades. They start at poor, go to fair, then good, very good, fine, very fine, extra fine, almost uncirculated, uncirculated, and then they have added a whole range of uncirculated numbers, starting at mint state 60, which constitutes uncirculated. So it goes mint state 61, 2, 3, 4, and 5, but recent proof coins also go up to 70. It's kind of like grade inflation. But with the steel penny, what you would look for is on the back, there are wheat shocks on each side, and if you can see the lines in the top of the shafts, then depending if you can see like half the lines, that constitutes very good. If all the lines are there, that's fine. And then there are other high points, like the cheekbone of Lincoln on the obverse would be what you would look for. But don't get too excited though, because a steel penny in good condition is probably a 15-cent coin. In fine condition, it might be 40 cents. And in uncirculated, it might be $1.50. So that's a rough idea of the pricing on the, and there are, of course, there are three different, there are mints that made those steel pennies as well. San Francisco is the S mint, and D is the Denver mint. And they are a little more valuable because they didn't mint as many in 1943, but there were hundreds of millions minted. So it's a fun thing to look at, but it's not terribly rare. Hope it didn't go too long.
Caller, did that help you? Okay.
He hung up.
No, he's still there. Okay, very good. Well, now if people have other coins, Chuck,
Yeah.
and they're not calling in right now, they're shy and so forth, how can they find out without talking to a person? Is there a way that they could find out this information on their own?
You bet. At bookstores and at newsstands, there are magazines that have prices in them, and I'll show one. I brought one along.
Okay.
This is Coins Magazine. This comes out monthly, and they do list the coin prices in it. But these are what are considered retail prices.
Okay.
And they need to know that a buyer or a collector will probably not pay them that full amount. They would pay them like 65 to 75% of that amount. If they have a substantial collection, they may want to go to what are called the gray sheets. And the gray sheets are what the dealers trade for. So what the prices are in the gray sheet is what they would be able to expect to get from a dealer who would be purchasing their collection.
Okay,
but roughly 65, 75%.
Most people don't know I'm interested in coins as well. And one of the things that we always tell people when you find coins, like the caller that found the steel penny or whatever, the first thing that comes to mind, the first thing they want to do is what?
Clean it.
Clean it. They get cleanser out. They dip it in brassola or something like that. And I got a chemist here, okay?
Yeah.
So we're not just talking about a couple of guys sitting around talking about coins. We're talking about somebody that knows the business. But what in the world should you do if you find a coin in the dirt, or if someone gives you something? What do you do?
Yeah. Well, the abrasion is what causes a decrease in the value of the coin. And when we have our meetings, and I didn't get into this, each member is allowed to submit 3 lots to our auction, so that we don't have one person who is totally dominating the auction with their submissions. So each member can submit 3 items, and then those are graded by a grading committee to make sure that it's a fair grade that the the seller, has put on it, so that the buyer can be protected. And the grading committee is the hardworking committee of our club. And they spend a long evening going through in this case, 117 lots, making sure that they're all properly graded. But the cleaning aspect is generally don't clean it. If you've picked one out of the dirt, you can run it under cold water, and that's just fine. I actually purchased an ultrasonic cleaner, which is good for dug coins or coins that are found in the out of doors. And you can put it in the ultrasonic and let that vibrate off the dirt.
Now, is this what they use for rings?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay.
It's just like a ring cleaner, or if your dentist uses it when they clean the tools they use to clean your teeth. So an ultrasonic cleaner is okay, but do not rub it. Rubbing is the worst thing you can do. And when our grading committee puts on a grade on a coin, even though it may be a high grade, like extra fine, But if it's been cleaned, you can tell by using a loop. Oh shoot, I brought my, oh, no, well, I have I brought a loop. A loop or a magnifying glass is a very common tool used by coin collectors and appraisers and dealers. And you can see the striations on the surface of the coin if it's been cleaned.
And how much are we talking for one of these?
The loop is very inexpensive, a couple bucks.
Okay, so it's a cheap tool to get.
Yeah. And the magazine is cheap. It's relatively inexpensive. You can subscribe to them. But the cleaning aspect, some of the old coins that are in high grade, they undergo tarnishing. It's a common phenomenon because the metals that are in it are relatively active. Gold is not very active. It does not tarnish very much. Silver, of course, you know if you've had silverware, it darkens. Those are silver sulfide deposits that form. And there are some nice, easy ways to clean those off without damaging the coin. One is called dipping. And dipping is effective if the coin is high grade. If it's a high grade coin and it has turned black as a result of a deposit, and I think it's like 125 nanometers thick, it will turn black. Silver sulfide is black. But if it's like 125 down to 75 nanometers, it takes on a beautiful toning of purple and red and orange and blue, gorgeous toning. If it's less than that, the toning is just minimal. And some collectors prefer toned coins. So if it's simply a toning that you're worried about, leave it alone because you'll get a premium for it. If it's a blackened silver coin, then you would want to perhaps dip it. And there are multiple ways of, and you can just buy Tarnex at the drugstore or at the local supermarket, and Tarnex works very well.
Awesome.
But you have to be a little careful with it. Do not leave it in too long. And if I mentioned, if the coin is worn and it's tarnished and you dip it, it will take on a gray appearance that is immediately apparent that you have dipped it, and it will decrease the value of the coin.
We'll get back to this topic. If you're just joining us, I'm Doc Hamels with Chuck Brininger. We're talking about coins, and we've got a caller. So,
Okay.
Caller, good morning.
So, on the idea of cleaning, you don't want to take the old trick of putting your coins into like Pepsi or Cola or something like that.
That's correct. You don't want to do that. Generally, those are acid solutions. That's carbonic acid, and it will work on the surface. It takes away some of the actual base metal. Now, those are fairly effective on cleaning copper coins, but again, generally speaking, leave your coin for someone who has had a little more practice. If you are not if you haven't practiced with non-expensive coins, certainly you don't want to try it with a coin that's worth some amount of money because you could cost yourself a big decrease in value.
Okay, the other question I had specifically was, what's the best way to store your coins? I mean, do you need a
excellent question.
huge thing that's going to have, regulated air, or do you just store
Oh,
them in
you
a
are so right.
box in a basement, or...
Many-
I'll let you talk about that.
Many
That was
people used to store their coins in velvet boxes, and the velvet and satin have gases that are hydrogen cyanide that enhances the deposition of the sulfide coating on the coins. So they were actually causing their coins to be toned by storing them in what they thought were nifty little boxes. It's not what's comfortable for the human that's comfortable for the coin.
No.
They make a little, what we call 2x2 holders, and I'll show you one here. I brought one along. This is what is commonly used. They have all different sizes for pennies, nickels, quarters, halves, and dollars, and I just brought this one that happens to be a quarter size, and it's got a special plastic on the inside, and this folds, and you put your coin inside of that.
Like a little window.
It's a little window. You can see both the obverse and the reverse, and then you staple it, and we have special staplers that we use that do not leave a nub sticking up. They're flat, really, really nice and flat. So you can store lots of coins together in a series, in a box, or something like that. We had some real problems with plastics. The original plastics outgassed. Most of plastics are made up of polymeric chains, and they use sulfur to connect these long chains of carbon atoms, and the sulfur would outgas and cause damage to the coins that they were storing. That has changed. So we now have a high quality chance of storing your coins. You don't have to worry about it so much.
Now, going right along with that, how do you seal that thing?
Oh, that's where the stapler comes in handy. So you put your coin in the middle of this, fold the lid down, and you staple it in 3 places. One side is sealed, so you only need to staple 3 sides, and that forms a nice plastic seal all the way around, and it's essentially airtight. Air is the source of our gases that cause the deposition of the crud on the outside of your coin. And so by putting in one of these and stapling it in 3 places, you do a pretty good job. Some people are real chintzy and they only put one staple down at the bottom. That doesn't work very well because it leaves a gap on the side. So you really need to do the 3 staple trick, and most people who do
and I understand a lot of times they want to flatten that staple down.
Yeah, I've got a special pair of pliers. If I buy coins that are not flat, the staples are not flat. You don't want to flatten your coin, but unless it's an error. But we've got special staplers that will put that down flat, and
so now you got them in these little flips or holders, and what do you do with them? How do you store that?
Well, there are lots of ways of doing that. There are boxes, plastic boxes, cardboard boxes. I didn't bring any of those along. Metal boxes.
Okay.
The nice thing about these 2x2s, they're the exact same size as the old slides for slide projectors.
Oh, okay.
And so you can go to a photographic supply house, which our son happens to own one out in Bowling Green, Ohio, and you can get cabinets that have lids, metal lids, and there are rows inside that house the 2x2s for the slides. You want to get the ones that don't have the slots in them, just have the slots taken out. And you can put these in row upon row upon row, and you can store 400 or 500 coins in one little valise, so you can minimize the space that it takes up.
Now, some people put their coins in coin books. Do you recommend that?
You know, as an early coin collector, John, that's how we all did it.
And put our fingerprint right on there?
Our thumbprint on every coin.
Just knock the value down a grade.
The times have changed. When you watch a modern day coin collector putting an uncirculated coin into a holder, they have gloves on.
Right.
And cotton gloves work very well. You don't know it, but the human body has a lot of oil, and that's how we leave fingerprints. Our DNA impression is everywhere we go, on our coins, on our coffee cup, or whatever. You all watch CSI and all these shows. And I taught forensic chemistry at the college for years, and we leave a mark on our environment. But you don't want to do that on your coins. So the books, a lot of the old collections are in the books, and when you buy them, that's the way they are.
Okay.
I don't recommend that you pop the coins out of the books. Unfortunately, those old Whitman folders did have paper that was made by reducing the pulp using sulfuric acid.
Okay.
And as a result, there's the sulfur again in the paper. So there's a high sulfur content in the paper. And with the silver coins, you can see in the book, the rim will be tarnished.
Like a halo kind of.
That's exactly right. But again, some people pay a premium for that.
Gets different colors going,
That's
pinks
right.
and oranges.
Right. It's the nice rainbow colors.
Okay. So what we're saying here is be careful how you handle the coins. And if someone gives this to you, to handle it carefully. Chuck says cotton gloves and so forth. Now, I want to, if I could, just switch a little bit.
Sure.
Because I'm sure there's people out here that probably say, I got a great coin collection. I've been buying these off the cable TV. I know. That's why I'm bringing it up. All right. I get the flyers on Sunday that says, buy this collection from the Western collection of the cowboy era, or the coins are no longer in circulation collections.
Obsolete.
The obsolete coins. You'll get this in a nice frame, or you'll see these guys on TV that are hawking their coins. People are buying these all the time. We're not here to diss them, but we're here to advise. We're here for education. So what in the world should we tell people about those guys?
Oh my. Well, let me give you an anecdotal story. I was contacted by a fellow who was addicted to the late night coin vaults and hucksters who would sell their coins, and they would, and I mean, they are experts. They would bring on these coins, and they are all mint state, uncirculated, and for the most part, if they've been graded by a quality grading service, and there are about 3 of about a dozen different services. 3 are top quality, and no one questions their.
And these are experts.
Yeah, PCGS and I don't remember Annex. And those are the 2 big ones.
I see something really.
Right, those are acronyms for the name of the service. But generally speaking, the coins that you see on Coin Vault and other shows, and as John said, we don't want to diss them particularly, but be cautious because you can go to our coin club and buy the same coin for about half the price.
Right.
That's probably the best way that I can say
I think that's fair.
and be diplomatic.
Buyer beware.
But I bought this coin from the guy who was addicted, and he said he had spent about $10,000
Oh my gosh.
on these coins over a period of several years. And I didn't buy them to add to my collection, but I just, it was an avenue to get rid of them, and then I sold them in turn. But they were only worth $2,000 or $3,000, and he had spent like $10,000.
That's a real kick in the gut, isn't it?
It's like 30% of their value. So
You know, this is no different than if you watch American Pickers, folks, or any of
yeah.
those shows. You got to know, you got to study, you got to be aware. Chuck talked about the book. There's good books out there. They're written by David Bowers.
Top
okay.
And there are articles in each magazine, each month will be articles in here. And there's another publication that's probably the premier publication for numismatists. And as John
Say
said,
that again?
numismatist.
Numismatist.
Numismatist, you got to put it on
Coin
the
collector.
second syllable. If we talk about numismatics, that's the coin collecting study, but numismatists are those who do that. And if you, I forgot where the heck I was going to go with that. Isn't that interesting?
About researching.
Oh no, I wanted to get another publication.
Right.
It's called Numismatic News. Numismatic News. And it's I think it's a weekly publication, and the subscription cost is not outrageous. It's maybe $30 or $40 a year, but there are 2 or 3 articles every week about other coin collectors, coin clubs, how to start them, how to participate, but generally, and some of the famous people in coin collecting will have articles in there. There's a Ginger Resperus and David Bowers, and I'm trying to think of all the people who give an article every week.
Okay.
Top quality.
Hey, we got another phone call.
Okay.
And I know it's my friend Linda. Good morning, Linda. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. We haven't heard from you in a couple of weeks. I thought we lost you somewhere out on Lake Chautauqua or something.
Yeah. I was looking for deer swimming across the lake or something. I don't know.
They might be.
Well, good morning, Chuck. It's good to see you on the show.
Thank you.
And I'm so glad that you clarified something that I wanted to confirm. The word numismatist, a coin collector.
That's right.
That's it.
And also, I want you to know that I always get numismatist mixed up with philatelist.
Yep, stamp collectors, right?
That's better than philanderers.
Right. Well, it's great to see you on the show.
Thanks.
And it's very informative. Also, I wanted to thank everybody on Channel 5 for putting on the interview that Doug had with Diana Price with Chautauqua Books. I have watched it faithfully every time I could, and it was just so much better than just putting a tape in or a CD or something to see it come on. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed it, and I had forgotten that I was one of the camera people.
So a little bit of history there.
Yes.
Good times, good memories, huh?
Yeah, it was great. So I just wanted to mention that we do have services with the Chautauqua County Office for the Aging, and there is counseling going on concerning health care coverage regarding your prescription drug coverage, and there are other services. We have our employment program and also our computer training that's going on in the Westfield area at the Patterson Library, the Dunkirk Free Library, and the Jamestown Office for the Aging. And computer training is free. It's entry level, self-taught, and all individuals in the age of 55 plus should contact us if they're interested.
Great.
So have a great weekend and a great day.
You got your turkey bought yet?
No, I'm going to my niece's, I think.
Oh, even better yet. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Linda, thanks as always for calling in and giving us updates, and I'm glad you're enjoying the show and the shows from the past, and I know you've been a great supporter of Access 5 here.
Well, it's a great privilege to have this, and
Okay.
thank you to everyone.
All right. You have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Chuck, we got a question that came through here, and
right.
it kind of fits right into one of the questions I was going to ask next, so it's perfect timing. Okay, a lot of times people have collections they've had for years and years and years, and sometimes someone passes away and they inherit it, or a widow has a collection of her husband. And so the question is, basically, should people use coins for retirement? Should the widow hang on to it? Should they liquidate it? And I know it depends on their financial status, but but a lot of times they'll say, I don't know anything about these coins. It was my husband's, or it was my wife's, or it was my kids, or whatever. And they want to run to the bank and just cash them in, or whatever. Or, here we go again, folks, they go to the traveling appraiser circus that comes to town. So what would you suggest for senior citizens that have their collections right now?
I recently wrote a letter to one of our local banks that brought in the traveling appraisers. And in the letter, we had several members of our club take their collections, and we knew very well what they were worth, to the traveling appraisers. And they came back at like 25% of their value.
Oh my gosh.
That's what they were offering.
And you said a dealer normally would give you about 65
to 75%
Wow.
of their book value, right?
Okay.
And you're absolutely right. And so in the letter, I wrote directly to the president of the bank and said, what you are doing is a disservice to our community. We have two shows. The Jamestown Coin Club has two shows, one in March and one in September, where we have over 30 dealers who will be thrilled to look at your coins and give you a much more fair price than these people who set up in the Hampton Inn or Old Holiday Inn.
These are the guys that run those full-page
they're
ads,
the ones that
bring in your old
Right,
guitars.
and for an 1804 silver dollar, we'll pay you
$40,000,
$190,000, that kind of stuff. It's a bunch of baloney and really, really unfortunate. I've thought about going and sitting in their lobby and telling people, here, go to the Coin Club, and as I said, we have a list of appraisers and buyers who would pay a much more fair price for their collections. The real onus of responsibility is on the collector. If you are a collector, you should have a little card that says, the following people I would trust to evaluate and or purchase my coins. So that you don't leave that to the loved one after you've passed. So, but if we're talking about after that person has passed on and the collection is now in the hands of somebody who doesn't know anything about coins, they could easily come to the Coin Club and we can connect them with people who would give them fair appraisals during the year, or the second Sunday in March and second Sunday in September when we have our coin show down at the Celeron Legion. You could bring those coins in and have them appraised and or purchased. They are very willing to do so and happy to be of service.
So when you're dealing with your coin collections, folks, it's probably no different than if you're going to a doctor for some ailment. Get a second, third opinion. Check it out. Just don't jump at the first person that wants to give you a couple bucks for those coins, because in many cases they're worth well more than what you think they are. And in coin collecting, it's a science of its own, because we're not going to get into all this today because there's just so much to talk about. But some coins, the way they were minted, they have variations, and these variations are worth sometimes 10 and 20 times more than just a typical coin for that particular year. One of the things that the question was, is it a good retirement value? So I think it's no different than stocks. Would you agree with that?
There's a risk. There's a risk involved. Absolutely right. That's a question that my wife and family have asked me. They've asked all of us collectors. Yeah. They've asked us, is it a good investment? Some of them are. Usually the higher quality coins are a better investment, By that, I don't mean just because they're uncirculated. I mean those that are more rare. The higher valued coins tend to hold their value better. But with the price of silver and gold having risen on a per ounce basis, the base metals themselves in silver and gold are worth a substantial amount of money. And so they would have proved to have been a good investment. Is it better than the stock market? Well, not in the year 2013. The stock market's up like 25%, and coins are relatively flat. Over the last 20 years, I love to go back and look at Coin Prices magazines from the 70s and 80s, and the change in the value of the coins has been remarkable. But again, it's more on the higher end and the more rare coins that they've had the significant increase in value. But even like a silver dollar now you can buy for $23, $24 a coin. Just 10 years ago, they were more like $8 or $9 a coin. So that's a substantial increase. But if you had put your money in the stock market in 2008, when the market took a hit, you would have doubled your money. So,
question just came through my little earpiece. What about currency? Dollar bills?
Oh, yeah. Well, there are not as many currency collectors as there are coin collectors. And for the obvious reason, it's a higher denomination. It takes more money out of your pocket when you're buying things like that. But we do have a good number of currency collectors in our club. And in our auction, I would say that there's probably 5%. Oh, no, not that high. Maybe 3 to 5% of the items are currency. And so if you run across old bills, hang on to them because they have value.
Probably from the 50s on back.
Yeah. Silver certificates, which were, you could turn them in for silver up to 1964. Those are worth maybe $1.10, $1.15.
A little bit of a premium.
A slight premium.
But if you had 1,000 of them,
or if you have them from 1935, the series, there was a 1935 series and then a 1957 and 1928, of course, prior to that. But the 57 series, about $1.15. 35, 28, then you're talking about a little more money.
So that's a whole nother collection, but we do have folks at the Coin Club that can look at it. Okay, we're running low on time.
Oh, good.
But I do. No, this is bad. We're just having a great time here. But real quickly, maybe two topics real quick. A lot of times people say, this coin's from the 1889. I got a silver dollar. I'm rich. And also the topic of fake coins. And I know we don't have much time, but maybe you pick the topic and then maybe we'll have you come back another time.
Yeah, that's well, I'd love to. There is that notion that you have one old coin and it's from the 1800s and it's a silver dollar, and they are beautiful. I mean, they are truly beautiful coins. But generally speaking, they made tens of millions of them in 1889. You happen to pick that date. In 1896, the high-end grades of those they're still maybe $30, $35 for even uncirculated, and we have those go through our auction. So just because it's old doesn't make it valuable. It needs to be old, it needs to be in top quality, and it needs to have a low mintage. That's the pedigree that makes for a good collectible.
As you can see by our clock, we're down to the last minute and 51 seconds. Chuck, take about 30 seconds if you would. Tell people about the club, where they can come, and so forth, and then we're going to wrap things up.
Yeah, that's a good idea. The Jamestown Coin Club, we were founded in '75. We meet at Bosie's on Route 394 at the Hughes Center, and we meet on the fourth Tuesday of every month, except December, when we have our annual Christmas party. The doors open at 6, the meeting starts at 7, guests are welcome, and you can bring your coins there, or you can bring them at one of our shows, which are in March and September at the Celeron Legion. Does that pretty well sum it up?
Pretty much it. And also there's another club in town.
Oh, yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah, the one in Westfield meets at, I'm not sure the name of the bank now.
It's the Community Bank.
Yeah, I think it is Community Bank. It's undergone multiple sales. But that meets on the fourth Thursday of each month, except November and December, when it's the second Thursday. of the month. And that's a smaller club, but it's pretty active, and a lot of members go to both.
Okay. Chuck, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for
Good to
coming
be
in.
here,
I hope
John.
you had a good time. Folks, I hope you learned a little bit about coin collecting. I won't use the N word because I can never say it. But I'm Doc Hamels. I want to thank you for viewing us today. And if you have other follow-up questions, you can always give us a call at 753-JACK. I want to thank the crew here, Randy Burt, Chris Burt, and Jeff Zook, as always, takes good care of us. Reed Powers, wherever you are, we hope you're having a great time. Give us a call. Chuck Kelsey, who's the grandfather of the Access 5 here. Next week, we're going to have Jim Fisher talking about Parkinson's disease. I look forward to seeing you once again. Have a good weekend, and remember, be safe. There's hunters out there with bullets. Take care.